Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of The Pillow Talk. I'm your host, Jacob, and on today's episode, our carcacha bus has definitely broken down.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Introduce yourself,
Oh.
you weirdo.
Well, it's because okay, never mind. Anyway, hi guys. I'm your co-host Cedia. Welcome to our dumpster fire of a show today, where we're going to be talking about. Well, actually, this is our new upload schedule. It's
uh,
going to be every Wednesday. So
Wednesday
we'll be there during the hump week or the hump day. Um,
to help you get
so
over the week.
yes. So we're going to be doing like these little I guess installments or segments.
Yeah, like every other
So
Wednesday, probably we'll be doing like what did we call
ooh,
it? What did we call it? Like
Wicked Women.
Wicked
Wicked
Women.
Women Wednesday. Whether it's
Hmm.
infamy or famous or like, you know, evil, good, any
Unknown.
women
Yeah,
in general
that have
that
done something wicked.
meaningful or like wicked.
Yeah.
Um so on today's episode we're going to be talking about the queen herself.
La Reina del Sur.
Yes, La Reina del Sur. Wasn't that like that was like a novela about a drug trafficker?
Yeah, but wasn't that what they also called like Selena? Am I wrong?
No, she's La Reina del Tex-Mex.
What? I thought she was. Ooh, okay.
Oh
I'm
girl.
girl.
Oh girl.
I'm
Well, if Jacob name dropping her wasn't, enough of a clue, we're gonna talk about Miss Selena Quintanilla
not
Perez,
Whispers Gomez.
not Whispers Gomez. I mean, I don't have any hate with Selena Gomez. I just,
Well,
you
I
know,
mean, where's her music career? She's currently just cooking food on HBO Max.
I mean, she. Oh my God, she recently, uh, put out like a music video. It was good. I liked it. It was alright. Anyway, so we're gonna be talking about Selena, but not just Selena. We're gonna be talking about she who shall not be named
Oh my god.
because she she's very hated. I would say amongst the
The
Hispanic,
murderess herself.
yeah, Holanda. Um,
Yolanda.
I think she's very much like hated in the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
Um,
The
and
Latinx community is like, go
yeah,
die. Like,
yeah, or yeah, I feel like it's because like for the first time we were getting somebody that represented us in like the
yeah.
mainstream,
Hmm.
in the 90s. So
Yeah.
they like literally like this person literally ruined all that. And we're just stuck with the what if, what if her career would where would she be right now in her career? You
Yeah.
know? Would she be as famous as she was? Like, or
I
would she
think
be as famous if she hadn't gotten killed?
I
There's just like
personally
a lot of
think yeah. I personally think Selena was on her way to being something even bigger than she was. Like, she was,
really.
yeah, I personally feel like she was on her way. And, her marketing team, um, back then versus her marketing team now, like, Selena
Oh
has
my
gotten
god.
everything and she's not even alive anymore. And it's really sad to say that happened. But I feel like with the way she would have evolved with the times. I feel like she would have evolved with the times. She was already going into fashion, and if she hadn't,
She was a trendsetter
yeah,
for
if
sure.
she definitely if she hadn't passed, I feel like everything that she's gotten since she had died would have still happened, but it probably would have been even bigger because it would have been her name, but by her.
Yeah. I'm like I'm like so saddened by this case because
Me too.
um I remember being like a little girl and my mom would always be like putting her music on or her music
Oh
videos would
my
come
god,
out in the
yeah.
TV and I'd
Mhm.
be like, "Oh my god, there's somebody that like, it was like we didn't have that kind of representation in the media,
Yeah.
like in cartoons and stuff. Like Selena was like our Cinderella, like
Yep.
our rags to riches
Literally
story.
listening to "Late at Night When I'm Alone, Dream" that, like, to this
Dreaming
day
with you.
Dreaming with You, to this day, if that song ever comes on, I start to cry, and I have, like, an out of body experience. I'm not even kidding, like, I
No,
really
for real.
do.
I couldn't listen to Dreaming with You without crying. I can listen to it
Mhm.
now because I think it's such a beautiful song. And I remember there was, like, a documentary about Selena that I had watched that AB had said her brother,
Mhm.
had said that he didn't like the song. Nobody liked the song, but Selena loved the song, and she wanted it on her record for her English album, and um, it turns out that that song that nobody expected for it to be good was the one that, like, was going that made her, like, really famous in the English market.
Yeah.
So, that and I Could Fall in Love was a big one
Oh
too.
my god, yes, that's the other
Yeah.
one that I like.
It it just, like it just breaks your heart because you really think, "What if?" And we're already going to be in March, which is the anniversary. It's gonna be the 26th year anniversary of her death, and it just seems I think our
It's so
community, our
sad.
Hispanic community never got over her death.
No, yeah,
Like,
we didn't. They're still
it's
having
and
entire festivals over here.
yeah, well, they used to. I think that they just recently canceled the, Fiesta de la Flor in Corpus.
Well,
This was
'cause
like
COVID.
Huh?
Didn't they cancel? I was gonna go last year to Fiesta de la Flor and it got
No,
canceled.
they ca they canceled it not because of COVID, but they canceled it because I think they were gonna move it to San Antonio, or they were
Oh,
gonna do
okay.
another festival in San Antonio. I don't know. Um, but it really it really shows that even after she's been gone for almost 26 years and she's still relevant today in our culture. It just means that she really
Left
impacted
an Yeah, she
people.
left an impact.
Yeah, she left her mark. And I think it's because there was literally nobody out there doing the things that she was doing. Like, she was a natural born performer. She just had it. Whatever
Yeah.
it was, she had it. She had
Yep.
that it factor. She had the look. She had the body. She had everything. The talent.
Mhm.
Most of all, the talent. She had all of it. And this selfish person just took it all away.
I remember,
So,
like, she was the first, um, artist that I, like, listened to that made me feel like I wanna perform too. Like,
yeah.
she's the big reason why when I was in elementary, middle school, high school that I was in things like choir and like stuff like that because I was like I want to sing and I want to hone that skill because like I felt like if she I feel like she was the person that made us like people like us people who are of Latin descent or us Hispanics, seeing her made us feel like I want to be that. I want to be that person mainstream that was doing all of those things, you know, like and I still to this day like kind of feel like like I don't know.
We were
I feel like
robbed. We were
we really
robbed
were fucking
of a good
Holanda.
person. And she was not only, like, a good entertainer or, like,
She
a
was
good
a beautiful
performer,
person. Like she just
she
was
was a
so
beautiful person. She was so kind to all of her fans. She she really I think it was, like, her smile that everybody just loved, her laugh, the
mhm.
way she just was, like, her as a person, because it it just makes me so sad to think about it, but anyway, going into this case that really just left everybody so in shock. I was not born when she was murdered, but I know you were.
Yeah, I think I was
Um,
3 months old.
I'm not gonna say do you remember where you were when it happened?
I was on
But
my I was on my mom's teat. I'm kidding.
oh my god. But
Um,
did your parents ever say like, "Oh, like
oh yeah, so like,
anything?"
my parents, so I grew up obviously like listening to Selena, and I listened to a lot of artists, but like Selena was like a really big one, and I still to this day remember watching the movie. I've listened to every one of her songs. My mom loved Selena. She still does to this day, but like back in the days when my mom said that the day that she died, she cried so much, and I remember when she first introduced me to Selena, she was just crying cuz like um she was like, this person, like I she spoke of her like not as if she was like a superstar. And I feel like a lot of people spoke of her almost as if she was like this icon that was not what's the word I'm looking for? They I feel like a lot of people spoke of her of her as a person that was they're part of the family, you know?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
as if it was
Yeah.
just so normal, like and I remember my mom brought up like, the day that she died, she was depressed for like, a whole week, and then she told me like, as soon as I know that you'll be like, she told me that she had told her like herself that as soon as she knew that her kids knew what music was or that they could understand music and stuff like that, that the first person that she was gonna like introduce us to was Selena, and that's the first person I got introduced to in music. It was Selena, and my parents still to this day talk about her, and my mom feels like um all of these like little like this is it's at the risk of saying sounding controversial, the money grabs that her family are trying to still get off of her name, like she feels like it's wrong, like we should just we come from like the Latin community where when our dead die, they're supposed to stay dead. Like we're not supposed to. We mourn them, we move on, and yes, we think of them from time to time, but we're not like actively trying to immortalize them as like a
But that's the
figure.
thing. That's the thing though, like if it wasn't for the family or like the fans
Hmm.
listening to her music, but like making shirts, making like all these things,
Hmm.
like it's a form, like I understand like oh like I know people say oh they should just let her rest in peace.
No,
You
okay,
know, they
like
should just
okay,
stop making money off of her
I
name. Like that's just
I feel
I
like
think it's just part of
the
her
fan.
legacy.
Yeah, I know. I feel like the fans, of course, like can do like you paint so many things about Selena and they're beautiful. Like your portraits of Selena are amazing. What I'm trying to say is that I kind of feel like her parents, her dad specifically, and her sister are still trying to make a name for her when she's not here. Like all of the Mac collections that have come out in her
Oh, but that
name.
made me happy though.
I
I like
know,
seeing
I
her stuff.
know. I do too. I love, but it's starting to get like a little bit repetitive. We've had like how many Mac collections now?
2.
Is it two? Is it two?
2
I thought
of
it was
them.
three. Um,
No, it was 2 of them.
well, yeah. Like, I mean, I don't have anything against it or anything like that. I just kind of feel like, and I know a lot of people have said it before. Like, they're still making money off of her name, and it kind of seems like a bit wrong. Like, think
I'm
about it.
not
Like,
I'm not surprised though. I'm honestly not surprised. Like they have like their own production company which is called Q
mhm,
Productions,
yeah.
and I haven't heard them put out music in years. The only person that I could think of that was somewhat successful
AB.
from for their music was AB with his Cumbia Kings. You know, but even
I've heard a
then that
story about
project
Kumbia
fell
Kings.
through. Oh
I
no.
got to meet AB Quintanilla when I was like a little kid. My little brother was in baseball and they sponsored my little brother and his baseball team, his T-ball team, T-ball. So I got to meet AB Quintanilla and like,
Woo!
yeah.
That's cool. Oh my god.
Yeah. I
Um,
got to meet
but
AB and like
yeah,
other people from the Cumbia Kings. It was like nice.
I remember you told me that. I was like, "What? That's so cool. You got to meet them."
He would come to the
Um,
games and it was so cute.
oh
Like,
really?
yeah, he would.
That's well, they like did a lot of charity events like softball, baseball events, like
Yeah.
stuff like that for
Mhm.
charity. So I can see like, that they were interested in like sports and stuff back in the
Yeah.
day. But yeah, I think I'm not surprised honestly that they're making products with Selena's image because not only like do are they trying to make money, it's like duh, like, of course they're going to try to make money. Like it would be dumb not to do it, you
Yeah.
know. It's just how it is. Selena carried her family. Like yes, her dad saw the talent and he wanted to cultivate that,
Mhm.
but like she essentially got her family through everything on her own,
Yeah.
you know? She was the singer. Like yeah, you can have a good drummer, a good guitarist, a good bassist, a good keyboard
Mhm.
person, or a good person that composes lyrics and stuff, but just because you write a good like song doesn't mean that like who's going to sing it?
Yeah.
Who's going to, dance and perform and like
You know
she
what?
was the entertainer.
Yeah. You know what song of hers that I can listen to nonstop on like on
Which one?
repeat? Que creías.
Oh, ¿qué
I
creías?
love that song. Oh my god, it is so good.
Que te iba a perdonar.
Yes. And then
It's such a good
they
song.
recently like a video of her pretty much dissing her ex at a baseball game had resurfaced a
Oh
couple years
yeah.
back.
No, well like it was like a little bit that they would do.
It
She
I
would
can
be like,
watch
"Oh,
that.
this is my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's going to be my ex-boyfriend." She would pull somebody out of the audience and just like sing that song.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
It was
Loved it
so
so much.
cute. She really included her fans in a lot of her performances, which
I'm
is good because you
so
hardly ever see that
jealous.
now.
Yeah. I'm so jealous of my parents because the year before she passed, she came and did a mini concert in McAllen at this park, and my parents were there. They got to see her perform. My whole family did. Um I think it was like they paid like something like $10 to go see her, and it was like a park.
Wow,
It was
that's
like,
insane.
yeah, oh my god, like I would have loved so badly to have seen her
She was
perform
such an
like
amazing performer,
mhm,
and I'm glad that she's getting all of this attention and all these accolades. Like she got the wax figure from Madame Tussauds,
mhm.
even though like it didn't look a lot like her, but they did get a little bit of her resemblance down. And she also got the Hollywood star on the
Yeah.
Walk of Fame, whatever. And that's also such an amazing honor. And I think she's also this year going to be receiving a posthumous legacy award from like the Grammys,
Oh my
which is
god.
like a huge thing, and I know it's going to be such an emotional thing for her family.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, you guys, this was their sister, their daughter that they lost. And
Yeah.
oh, she was a wife. Chris lost his wife.
Mhm.
So this was a family member. A lot of people see as like, oh, like we were robbed of like a cultural icon,
But they were
but they
robbed of
were robbed of their family
yeah.
member, and I know that if Selena was like if she could talk and speak, I think she would be okay with it that they're still making money off of her because I would think that she would want her family to like be
Be
taken
taken
care
care
of.
of, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't get really upset about those things. I just get upset when they try to take down people like fans um making like paintings or like making products. Like there was this whole ass like company like that made like what are those called? Like, car air fresheners
Yeah,
that you hang up. They did, like, some of her silhouette, and they took down, like, all like, they ended up doing, like, a copy strike on them, like, a copyright strike
yeah.
on that company. That's just, like, was a small Latino, Latinx company, and it was, like, it didn't sit well with me. I've also, like, suffered from that, like, I've had my artwork taken down from Etsy, because I've been selling my paintings. I'm the kind of artist that if my paintings sell, they sell. If they don't, I don't get upset. I put them out there if somebody wants to buy them because I've had people come up to me and be like,
I heard
"Oh,
paintings.
like why aren't you, like do you sell like your paintings?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But if they sell, they sell. If they don't, they don't. It's fine. But I'm not the person that's like actively bumping out Selena paintings to sell them.
Yeah,
And even if I did, that in of itself, it's because there's demand for it. There's a market for it.
yeah,
It's like if, you're painting a Marilyn Monroe painting or like I think Selena is like on that level of like Marilyn
yeah.
Monroe, like
I agree.
timeless,
Yeah, and then she's
so
gonna her music, her image, her fame, I feel like is going to live on, like you said, timelessly. Like we still think of Marilyn Monroe, we are still gonna be thinking of Selena 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line. Like I feel like people are still gonna be well, at least people in the Latinx community, like the Hispanic community, will still be um will
remembering her.
remembering her, yeah, because like even like even now that we're talking about this topic on this episode, I feel like crying because although I did never got
Yeah.
to see her, I never got to meet her like some people who were fortunate enough to do so. It makes me sad because I see how my family reacts to her music, reacts to anything involving Selena. She really was the call to what we were asking for. Like I feel like she was like the Hispanic or the Latin Madonna. Like
No, I think she's like the Hispanic Michael Jackson.
okay,
Because think about it. Think about it. Michael Jackson grew up,
mhm,
in a band with his family
yeah,
and him
true,
performing and
true,
stuff.
true.
And
They have
like
similar,
Selena was very similar upbringing.
yeah,
His dad, Michael Jackson's dad was like super like strict on them and like,
hmm,
forced them to perform when they didn't want to. That's basically what Selena's dad did on a smaller scale.
yeah.
So, but yeah,
Have
I
you
I
seen the Netflix original series of
I
her?
did. I saw it. My mom didn't like it.
My mom didn't like it
Um,
either.
I liked it. I liked it just because, like, I liked seeing the different fashion, sides of Selena. I've known of her, like, fashion choices and stuff from the '80s.
Did you see the
Uh,
mountain that they put in Brownsville?
oh, yeah, the the landscapes for the series was not accurate at
You
all.
know
There
what's
are
really
no
sad
mountains here in the
though?
valley.
There are none,
Huh.
yeah. Somebody from the valley was working on that project.
Somebody should have spoken up about it and been like,
I
"Hey,
I know when it was a thing, like when it started, gaining traction, I remember someone saying like, "How could the person from the valley not say, 'Hey, there aren't there aren't mountains in Brownsville.' Like what the hell?" Like
isn't the I don't know, I think that the Quintanilla family was also helping in the producing of the I would have spoken up about that. Anyway, it's fine. But we are getting off track. We are going to be talking today about the case and
mm,
how it essentially like there's like so many conspiracy theories that we're gonna get into.
Well,
Um,
honestly, this is probably gonna have to be like a possibly a two-parter. I feel like there's that much
maybe.
material behind this.
I mean, I guess, but let's try and see if we can get through it all. If not, we'll end up doing a two-part.
Mhm,
Um, so so back in 1995, right?
mhm.
This is March 31st, 1995.
Yes.
Um, Selena at this point had been just tired of Yolanda's tomfoolery. Um, there was already multiple complaints of the boutiques that she owned. She owned multiple fashion boutiques. She owned one in San Antonio, one in Corpus, and she was going to be working on having one in Monterrey in Mexico.
Mhm,
So, um, she had been hearing on her two boutiques complaints about Yolanda being unfair, firing people left and right because she was the manager of these boutiques. Mind you, Yolanda had no experience as a business experience at all. She was a nurse by trade. She was,
Wait, what? She was a nurse?
yeah, she was a nurse, which I will go into that makes this whole situation even more fucked up. So she was a nurse, and it turns out that at her previous job she had been stealing money from the doctor that she was working with, and they he ended up suing her and they settled out of court. So we don't know how much, I don't remember how much money she stole from him, but she stole like a pretty good amount of money, enough for him to sue her. So anyway, so that's a thing. The other thing was that she was firing employees left and right, and so much so that it was like the work environment there was so toxic that even Selena's fashion designer that she worked with, Martin Gomez,
Mhm.
had decided to, you know, resign essentially because he would find that she had like gone into the garments and like ripped the seams open, and he'd have to start over all
Oh
over
my
again. Yeah,
god.
it was like a crazy thing. And apparently when he had sent an assistant over to go pick up some zippers at her house or apartment, when the assistant got there, she came back and told Martin that there was like a shrine of Selena at Yolanda's house.
Oh my
Like it was like wall
god.
to wall Selena. Crazy, crazy. Um, but Selena being like the kind person that she didn't want to believe that this person who had made her fan club, who, was there for her during like really hard times, like all of these things, she didn't want to believe that this person was capable of doing such evil things or being like this awful person that everybody was telling her that she was.
Mhm.
She didn't question it. Because she wasn't a negative person. I remember in an interview, her mother would say that anytime anybody would say something negative about somebody, she would always try to say something positive about a
Right.
person. So that's the kind of person she was. So she didn't believe it. And also, on top of that, she had a lot of things to do. She was performing, she was, recording for the English album. She had so many things on her plate that I'm sure that this little thing was just like, oh, I don't believe it, and I'm not gonna put any more energy into this situation because
Yeah.
I unless I see something happening, then I'll fix it,
Mhm.
you know? So, um, there was a lot of red flags by the time that this incident had happened for her. And uh luckily Selena's dad had found evidence that Yolanda was stealing from the boutiques. I think she had stolen like, oh my god, I don't remember. I think it was like thousands and thousands of dollars. It wasn't just like, oh, $100. Like it was like thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Um so Selena would give Yolanda like the company credit card, you know.
Oh my
She gave her
god.
I know, she gave her access to bank accounts. all of these things that she had placed her trust in Yolanda, and Selena's dad had found that she was making checks to her signed by her. So, yeah, she was trifling.
Is
So
that where
he
the line in the movie comes out where the I don't know where those checks are, but I'll find
yeah.
them. I
Yes.
will.
I'll show you.
That
Oh my
that
god.
line from that movie became a meme this year. Did you see the meme?
Really?
I
No, I didn't see it,
don't know where the missing ballots are, but I'll find them.
but I'll find them.
And I'll
Dead.
show you.
Oh my god.
The missing
Um,
ballots. People are were like trying to fucking bring Yolanda and Trump together.
honestly, but okay, she so during this time, Celine, it's about that time where we're gonna get, our W-2s,
Mhm.
and we got to do our taxes. So Selena had to do her taxes. Homegirl just wanted the statements from the boutiques, all of the financial records from the
Mhm.
boutiques. She needed them so she could do her taxes because she owns a business, and you do get some tax breaks if you have a business.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Hey girl, I need these for my taxes," and Yolanda was not, fessing up. She was not giving them to her.
Wow.
So Selena's dad ends up having this meeting with Selena, her sister Suzette, and Yolanda. And Yolanda, again, there was like that, but I'll find them. She apparently in real life, she didn't say much at all when they confronted her with the evidence. And Selena's dad was super frustrated about this because at this point, they had placed all this trust on this woman.
Yeah.
So, and it turns out that she's stealing. So it was very it was very hurtful because they actually thought of her as a family, and it's like, how can you do this if you're family, right? So at this point, Selena had been contacting Yolanda multiple times to get together to um collect her financial records.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a couple of days before they had met up because Selena's dad was not having it, and he was like, "You are banned from coming to the record company. You need to give us all of, like, they ended up changing all of the information at the bank. They took her off of they took her off of the banking, information. They took away the company credit card. Like, she was getting doors slammed in her face multiple times.
Yeah.
And because of this person literally placed her whole entire life. She invested her life in Selena, and now Selena was backing away from this
Yeah.
situation, and she suddenly just like could not handle that. And she was so used to being treated special. She was so used to the parties. She was so used to, like, the privilege and all that stuff, that she could not handle being not being in that life
Yeah.
anymore. She was so used to it. So what happened was that Yolanda contacted Selena. They went out, and she was like, "Look, you can still help me with the Monterrey, like with the Mexico deal for the boutiques, but we need to keep like our friendship on the down low. I can't be seeing you. We can't be talking as often, but like I will have something for you." Like, Selena was not going to cut her out completely,
Yeah.
because she was smart. Like, she wanted those bank statements. Um and apparently during the meeting, Yolanda pulled out the gun and showed Selena the gun because apparently Yolanda had been receiving death threats from her father, that she'd been seeing these people pulling up to her house, and she was really scared for her life, and that's why she bought the gun. Selena freaked out and she was like, "Go return the gun, you know, don't worry. I'm going to protect you from my dad. Like, we're
Mhm.
still going to be working together. Don't be silly, whatever, right?" So Yolanda goes and returns the gun. And then I don't know what happened, but Selena was still pressuring Yolanda to, you know, to give her the bank statements. And that's when Yolanda went back and bought the gun again. So,
What the
so I know Selena's dad has this theory that Yolanda tried to kill Selena 3 times, actually.
Oh
The
my
first
god.
time, yeah, the first time was when Yolanda had shown Selena the gun. The second time, Yolanda had asked Selena to go to the motel alone. And oh, no, no. It was the first time. The first time, no, not the one where she showed her the gun. It was the first time she asked Selena to go alone to the motel. Her
Mhm.
fans ended up finding out some way that Selena was going to be there,
Uh-huh.
and she couldn't go because all of her fans were there. So her fans saved her that night. The
Wow.
second time, she went with Chris to go pick up the documents.
Mhm.
But Chris was there, so she couldn't kill her. And then the third time, unfortunately, Selena went on her own. People like to question like why Chris didn't go with her, but I think in his book, there's a book that Chris wrote that was like such a good book if you guys want to read it. It's called To Selena with Love, by her husband Chris Bettis. It's such an amazing book. It really it made
I'll
me
need to
cry.
read that
it was
because
so
yeah, it would make
it
me
was
cry
so
too.
it was
That
so
sounds
beautiful,
so
their
sad.
story. Yes. Their story is so beautiful and also so sad at the same time. I really want Chris to make a series on um their love story. Anyway,
That would be so cute.
it would be
Like
really
from
cute.
his
He
point
was
of
going
view, like
Yeah. He was going to make it. He was going to make a show, and then Selena's dad ended up suing him. Anyway,
wow, I'm
we're
not
going too
surprised.
far from. Yeah. So so apparently Chris was asleep and Selena didn't want to wake him up. So she just like left, and I'm sure like, oh, and then she had like a recording session for the
How
English
very
album
good
that day
girlfriend of
too.
her.
She was a wife. I mean,
Yeah,
she
but
didn't want
like
to wake him.
that's so like you get what I mean? Like oh, he's asleep, I don't want to wake him. You know what I mean? Like good
Yeah.
how very good girlfriend of her.
Yeah. Yeah, she was very good girlfriend. Um I guess Chris said in his book that he had heard her like getting ready, taking a shower, getting ready to go, and under he was under the impression that she was going to go record for the English album. So she had or he had said that um Selena the first thing he heard in the morning was Selena scream. And that's because his dad was staying over at their house, and she had forgotten that his dad was there, and she saw him and like she screamed and then started laughing, and she
Hmm.
was like, go back to sleep, it was your dad. And he went back to sleep. And then well, then the night that Selena had gone with her husband to go pick up the records,
Uh-huh.
Yolanda was claiming that she had been trigger warning for all of my people who have dealt with sexual assault. Trigger warning, just letting you know. um she had been assaulted in Mexico. She had been raped. Yeah.
Oh my
Selena
god.
was like, "Why don't you go to the hospital?" And she's like, "No, I'm scared. Whatever, whatever." Selena was like, "Look, I'll take you tomorrow to the hospital if it's really that bad." And she was like, "Okay." And then so Selena goes and picks up Yolanda from the motel and takes her to the hospital because apparently she had been experiencing a lot of bleeding. And so they take her to the hospital, and the hospital staff noticed that the shirt that she was wearing, which is the one that she claimed that she had on when she was like assaulted, it looked like somebody took a pair of scissors to it. It didn't look like somebody like ripped the the clothes. It looked like somebody took scissors to
Yeah.
the garment. So Selena, they did like a rape kit on her, on Yolanda, and Selena pulls one of the nurses to the side and asks her, "Do you think she's been raped?" And then the nurse says, "Well, if she says she's been raped, then she's been raped. Like you can't
Yeah.
question her. If she says that she has, then she has." And Selena was like, "Oh, okay." And then apparently like the nurse, there was like a documentary about this. This is where I'm getting my information.
Mhm.
The nurse was like, "Oh, well then she has a doubt, that she had been raped." So Selena takes Yolanda back to the motel, and while they're driving back, they're like arguing, and Selena's like, I guess at this point very frustrated because there's been multiple times where she's been trying to get this thing done, and like Yolanda just keeps, stalling. And
Mhm.
at this point, Selena knows that this person stole from her, and she is just fed up. So they get back to the motel, and nobody knows what happened in that room. Only Yolanda and Selena are the only two people that know. But apparently, the people that were staying at the hotel, they could hear them arguing, like yelling at each other. Can you imagine being the person
Oh
like
my
that was
god.
right next door to that room,
Mhm.
and like just hearing them like screaming at each other? According to Yolanda, Selena took her purse or her bag or whatever and dumped it out on the bed, and she that's when the gun came out of the purse. And apparently the door was open. So Selena, when she saw the gun, Yolanda took the gun and pointed it to her head, and she said, "I'm going to kill myself if you don't leave." Selena, according to Yolanda, said, "No, let's talk about this. Put the gun down, whatever, whatever." Tried talking her out of it. And she's like, "I'm going to close the door," because apparently the door had been left open. So she said she's going to close the door. And then, as she's closing, or apparently as she was like going to close the door, Yolanda said, "Don't close that door," while pointing the gun at Selena. "Don't close that door." And then the gun went off, and Selena just took off running after that. Now, what I think happened was Selena saw the gun, panicked,
Mhm.
and was like, "Nope, I'm out of here." Like, I told
Yeah.
this girl to get rid of the gun, and she
And she
didn't.
didn't.
And apparently, she was like, "You know what, Yolanda? I'm done. We can't be friends anymore." She was taking off the ring from her finger, that ring that she had
Yeah.
given to her as a gift,
Mhm.
which she used the company credit card on. She didn't even she got all the employees to pull in their money to give her a gift. She got the money, and she ended up spending, you know, buying the ring with the company credit card, which was like,
What the fuck?
wow.
Wow.
Real classy, Yolanda.
For
So
real.
then so then Selena is like taking off the ring. She sees that Yolanda goes for the gun, and I'm sure that she just like ran out or was
Yeah.
like walking out, and then Yolanda shot her. If she had been shot just like 1 centimeter above or 1 centimeter below that artery that she got hit, that hit the bullet hit her, um,
She would have
she
survived.
pro- she probably would have survived. So my
Mhm.
theory is that Yolanda was a nurse, so she should have known. So apparently, she got shot in the back. Selena got shot in the back, and the bullet exited from her shoulder,
Yeah.
from lower shoulder. So it ended up breaking her collarbone and severing the subclavian artery, and it I guess her lung had collapsed or something. I forgot. Something happened with her lung.
Yeah.
So she was running out, uh and Yolanda, being a nurse, she would know where to shoot somebody to really hurt them.
Yeah.
So, and Yolanda was a short person. So from the angle that she was at, she was able to get exactly where, cuz that was an artery, and she died. Selena died due to her bleeding out. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, if she would have just stayed where she was at, she would have bled out anyway."
Yeah.
You know? Because one, like your adrenaline is like it gets your heart pumping even faster,
Mhm.
and Yolanda, being a nurse, she could have administered first aid at the very least. But I think in my mind, if I believe somebody's like stealing from me and wants to kill me, I'm not going to stay with that person.
Yeah.
If it was truly an accident, then why didn't Selena stay there? Why did she run if she felt that she was safe with her, you know?
Mhm.
So she runs to the lobby, which is about the length of a football field,
Oh my god.
essentially. She runs that far to get to the lobby of the hotel. And while she's running, she's like holding her wound, and she gets to the door of the lobby and she pushes the door open and she collapses. And she tells the receptionist that close the door or she'll shoot me again or something like that. They had said in the court documents that Selena had said something along those lines. It's not 100% proven,
Mhm.
but that for sure when they asked who did this to her, she said Yolanda, room 158 or whatever room she was in.
Yeah.
And she after that, she just collapsed and just passed out. And according to like the hotel staff, she was like absolutely just covered in blood.
Oh
Like
my
her whole
god.
shirt was just like soaked in blood and they couldn't find where the blood was coming from. So the one of the managers comes out and is just like holding her, holding her head and just like, stay with me, trying to make sure that she's like conscious so she doesn't pass out.
Yeah.
And like he said that he heard like groaning or moaning sounds, but that after that, like she went limp after a while. And like as soon as she went limp, like there was like the ambulance was there. It would like they took 2 minutes to get there to her,
Mhm.
which is like absolutely incredible. Um, so they take her in the ambulance and the paramedics can't even find like a vein, you know, to put in an IV
Yeah.
because at this point she had already bled out. She died there in that hotel lobby. Um, and she was dead on arrival to the hospital. But in the ambulance ride, somebody like one of the ambulance paramedics heard something fall. And that's like the scene in the movie where she like has the ring in her hand and
Yeah,
then
and it
like
slips
her
away.
hand opens and it yeah. When they were like cleaning the ambulance because there was blood, they usually like hose down the ambulance and stuff.
Yeah.
They found the ring, they gave it to the police or whatever. Anyway, her her doctor or the person that was performing, to resuscitate her, she had no blood. So they gave her blood and they were trying to do the most to help
Mhm.
her, but the damage was so severe to her artery that the blood just kept coming out of the artery.
Oh my
They couldn't
god.
fix it. And they even massaged her heart. They got her to like a unstable um heartbeat. They had like an unstable heartbeat. Like it would flatline and then it would like go and then it will flatline and go again. So, um they figured at that point that she had been dead for a considerable amount of time at this point.
Yeah.
So so her brain, so she wasn't breathing. So there was no oxygen being delivered into her brain. So she was brain dead by that time. And if they had resuscitated her, she would have been like a vegetable at a vegetative state.
Yeah.
So it just sucks because you're just like, oh my God, but what if this? It's like, no, like any way you try to change the story, the same outcome comes out. She would have died. So,
Yeah.
unless Yolanda would have shot her in a different region that wasn't an artery, she probably would have survived. But can you imagine for like a second if she would have survived that? I don't think she would have come out of that like okay. I think she would have been a very traumatized person.
Yeah.
And I think that whole situation would have just really fucked with her like mentally and
Well,
she would
yeah,
not have
because
been
she thought that they were friends, and like, who thinks that? Oh, my friend is gonna shoot me. Like,
yeah.
I
It
don't
just
know.
it just makes you think like how like if she would have survived that whole ordeal, like I don't think she would have been the trusting person that she was anymore.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. If I had gone through something like that, I think I would have been like a really bitter person. Like, oh, people are really out here trying to kill me. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to
Mhm.
like it's crazy. She would have like I don't know. I don't know how she would have been like knowing her and being like her positive self. I don't know if she would have been able to be that positive enough to you know, get herself out of that situation or out of that like mentality. That's
Mhm.
the thing, like all this story, it just makes you like believe what if.
Yeah.
And there's so many conspiracy theories to the point where there was this doctor who was helping her with her perfume line in
Mhm.
Mexico.
Mhm.
He also performed some little lipo on her legs and stuff, which is normal. It's fine, if you can invest in your appearance, do it.
Yep.
So this doctor, apparently Yolanda had said that Selena had an affair with the doctor in Mexico. Like if she didn't fight to be with her husband, like potentially
Literally, like, what the
break
fuck?
up her whole family over Chris. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, can you imagine, like, oh, I fought so hard to be in this relationship with this person. Let me just have an affair and ruin everything. Like,
Literally, yeah.
doesn't make any sense. But apparently, there are some conspiracy theories that the doctor was there in the hotel room that day um because apparently Selena had brought in like a suitcase with with all these clothes and she had her passport on
Mhm.
her. uh, it was just uh there's also conspiracy theories that is so fucked up that people think that Selena's dad had put out the hit on her daughter, on his daughter. Like people say, "Oh, Selena's dad must have made it so that Yolanda looks suspicious and caused Yolanda to have this like freak out
Mhm.
episode because he knew
Mhm.
that she was crazy and so he could make more money off of her." Cuz now I think like we don't know how the trajectory of her career would be. So let's just like speculate that maybe it wasn't as popular as it was when she passed.
Yeah.
But when she passed, she like she became famous. Everybody after J-Lo, did the Selena movie, everybody
Yeah.
knew who Selena was,
Yeah.
you know? So maybe she was
Yeah.
worth more dead than alive,
It's sad to think
and
about it that way, but I know a lot of people who only know about Selena because of that movie. Obviously, like
yeah.
for most of us, it's not that. Like for me, my mother and father showed me Selena like through her music.
Yeah, same.
And then they were like, "Oh, here's a movie." Like, cuz I had only seen pictures of her. I had seen the internet wasn't as strong to be showing us like the small clips of her music at the time. We didn't have access to. I wanted to see a physical moving representation of Selena, so that's when they showed
Yeah.
me the movie. And but like I knew about her music. I had seen pictures of her, and unfortunately, a lot of people really only know about her because of the movie and because of J-Lo, like, you
Yeah.
know?
But J-Lo literally like her career is thanks
Skyrocketed
to
because of,
Selena.
yeah,
She
yeah.
actually got inspiration to do music
Mhm.
because of Selena, because of the movie.
Yeah.
So, it's just so crazy that these people come up with these like conspiracy theories
They're
when
ridiculous.
Oh, another theory was like that Selena's dad had said no to the blood transfusion
Oh,
because
yeah.
he was
Uh-huh.
Jehovah's Witness and like that was their faith. So he told the doctor not to give her blood and that's why she died. No, that is false. She was dead on arrival. Her family wasn't notified until like way later,
Mhm.
you know, and the whole scene in the hospital for when she dies and stuff, it was not like that at all.
Mhm.
And the the only thing that Selena's dad had said was like, "Oh, she wouldn't have wanted that."
Yeah.
When the doctor said that they gave her blood, he was like, "Oh, she wouldn't have wanted that." And I think there was like some reporters there already by the time the dad got there. There was
Mhm.
reporters there, of course. And I
Obviously.
guess they caught him saying that and they're like, "Oh, so you wouldn't have given Selena blood?" You know? But the thing is that doctors have this Hippocratic oath. They're going to try to save your life no matter what,
Yeah.
you know? Like it in the moment, no matter what your religious preference is, they're going to try to save you. So, unless at this point like you're a stable condition and they just if they want to pull the plug, then that's the decision that the family has to make.
Mhm.
But the doctors are going to try to save your life and keep you at a relative stable condition, at least alive. So, and when they couldn't do that for her, then of course, you have to stop trying.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh the case blew up pretty big to the point where they couldn't do the trial in Corpus because a lot of people were speculating that the jury was tainted. So they moved it to Houston, I think.
Mhm.
She got tried there and she was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. I think it's in 2025. So
They should definitely keep her there. And
she would be safer there,
yeah,
honestly.
like if she got released anytime soon, I'm sure I'm almost certain somebody is going to like you probably. I'm kidding.
Oh my god, no. No. Also, she's not gonna get out because she still to this day maintains that it was an accident.
Oh my god.
Like, when all of the evidence points to it not being so,
Yeah, I
you
accidentally
know?
lost my virginity too. Like,
Oh my god.
yeah.
It's just it's just ridiculous. No parole board is going to give her parole or is going to let her out if she hasn't confessed, everything. Like,
Yeah.
she maintains her innocence to this day, that it was an accident, um, and she's currently in jail. So, it's crazy. This whole case was so heartbreaking to relive it almost.
Mhm.
It kind of just breaks your heart,
Yeah.
to think that such a beautiful, talented, kind person, um, her life was just snuffed out in such a brutal way. I can't even imagine the fear and the panic of her just, you know, slowly bleeding out like that.
Yeah.
And the family that she wanted to start with Chris, like, I wonder if she thought about that. Like, what were her last moments like? They probably were not good, and she deserved better. If she
She
was going to
did.
die, she deserved a better. That was like a horrible way to go, honestly.
Really.
But she will forever be the queen of Tejano and the queen of our hearts and
Mhm.
all of the Hispanic community. And her legacy is just as strong as it was that day that she was brutally murdered. And
Absolutely.
we love we love Selena in this podcast, and
Yep.
uh we continue to uh
I feel like I
celebrate her
stayed
life.
really quiet during this pod this pod, but it was only because this is the one like in the last case that we talked about, I know I had a lot to say, but this is the one case that it hurts me so much to think of like all of these
And
things
she
that
was
happened.
23. She
Yeah,
was
that's another thing.
23
She was
years old.
so young. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
And
She was about to turn 24. People actually thought that it was an April Fool's prank because they had announced it on the 31st slash April 1st that she had been killed, and people thought it was a joke. People didn't believe initially.
well, yeah. So the reason
I
I
wouldn't have
feel
believed it
like
either.
I stayed so quiet is because thinking about her and the case and everything like um it just saddens me so much. Like it really does because you know, growing up, I looked up to the image, the idea, the music, everything Selena had to offer, but I had no actual person to like, like I will, you and I will never be able to say, "Oh, I got to meet Selena." Like, no. Like,
Yeah.
I get excited just telling people that I got to meet her brother, or that my mom had brunch with her sister, or stuff like that, like, cuz those are things that actually happened. But like, I have an unfulfilled like feeling of like, wanting to
Oh,
meet
and we went to the
her.
museum.
Yeah,
Remember? We
we
went
did.
to
We
the
went to the
museum.
museum.
It was
It
so surreal being there. You
mhm.
could feel her energy there. It was
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Her
guys,
outfits are
ugh,
just ugh. Like,
they
and
were
it
so beautiful and perfect
literally,
and
yeah, looking at, like, if you ever get the chance to go to Corpus Christi and go to that museum, they have like the exact clothes that she wore. Are they replicas, or they're the exact costume?
no,
Or
there
the
that's her
That's her
clothes.
clothes? Okay.
It's hers.
Um
Yeah.
they don't make fabric, they don't make beading, they don't make like the things that she had on the way they used to. And oh my god, like, looking at
The
the
detail.
detail and everything, me being like I'm not very big on fashion in my drag, but I'm big on fashion on other people. Like, I know like the way certain fashions look, like looking at the fabric, looking at the detailing and the beading, the shoes that she was wearing, the accessories that she accessories all the accessories, all they have everything on display. Like, the hair do that she would do, like, it's all just so surreal, and it makes you feel like you're close to her, but we will never be able to, like,
We got the opportunity to go into the studio
yeah.
where she recorded most of her music,
Mhm.
and it I honestly felt like the room was, like, vibrating, like,
Mhm.
with energy, like, of her, and then when we went into, like, the actual like, I was I was, like, almost, like, in tears just being there, and this was, like, pre-COVID. I mean, it was, like, during, like, when we started seeing cases of COVID in the United States,
Yeah.
barely, um, that we went to go to the museum, and the clothes just walking into that room, it really made you feel so much closer to her, and it just,
Yeah.
like, it felt like the energy there was so positive, like, I didn't feel anything bad, I didn't feel anything freaky or anything like that. It just felt, like, warm and, like, welcoming, and only I can imagine, like, how she was, you know?
Yeah.
And it was really sad. Like, I at least I'm like, "Well, Jacob, at least you were, like, alive during the time when she was a
I
around," you
literally did
know?
I was 3 months old. Like,
I know, but, like, you were alive during her time, you
yeah, I
know?
mean,
It's like us that, like or me, I guess, I remember my mom had said that when she heard about her death, she was, like, on her way over here,
mhm.
and there was people saying all kinds of things, like, oh, they thought it was, like, a drug, something drug related. And I'm like,
Wow.
I'm sitting here like, "Ugh, Selena was so against all that stuff." I'm like, no, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
if y'all ever have the opportunity to go, like Jacob said, highly recommend, especially if you're
Mhm.
like a Selena fan, or if you just want to get to know about Mexican American music history, because
Yeah.
it's not just like her being
Tejano, if you wanna
Hispanic,
get to
it's
know
her.
about the history of like, she was a Tejano artist, like, she was, I think at the time, she was probably one of the only big Tejano women, like, women in Tejano.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
Next, I think it was, like, her, Laura Canales, and which, by the way, I'm related to Laura Canales.
Wow.
She's my aunt, but her and Laura Canales, and I think, who else was another, woman in Tejano at the time? Because, at the time, Tejano was, predominantly, ran by men. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
it was a very big there was a big market for men to be in Tejano, and Selena was coming up, and she was a Tejano artist, and so was like a few other like it was very rare to see a woman in Tejano like that did it the way she did the way they did. I feel like because uh like I said, Laura Canales also was a woman in Tejano.
Yeah, there was other I can't think of Shelly Lares, that was like another Tejano singer.
Mhm.
Um there's like so many other women that were in Tejano but weren't as popular as Selena was.
Yeah.
Um but definitely when I think of Texas, I think of Selena, I think of Whataburger. Um
Yes, which both
I
Selena
think
and Whataburger both come from Corpus, like
yes, oh my god, Whataburger, why aren't you coming out with a Selena line? Can you
literally they
imagine?
should have like
The Selena meal.
the Selena meal. Yeah, she would have loved that.
Yeah, cause she loved food, she
Yep.
loved to eat. Or why doesn't, like, her sister or her family, like, her estate reach out to Whataburger or, like, Pizza Hut or something and do, like, you know, 'cause she loved Pizza Hut.
She
So,
did.
I personally love Domino's myself,
I hate Domino's.
but I love Domino's.
Pizza's
Pizza Hut is so okay.
you know what?
Pizza Hut is like, you get a large pizza from Pizza Hut, and it's, like, $30 for a large pizza,
It's
versus,
so
like,
good
you order
though.
from Domino's, it's, like, so much cheaper.
Okay, so, like, my favorite high-end pizza is Pizza Hut. My favorite affordable pizza is Little Caesars.
You know what? I like Little Caesars
I
now. I
love Little
really do.
Caesars.
I
Now
feel
we're
like,
just
oh
talking
my god,
about food.
I'm getting hungry. Damn it, Selena, you and your pizza. Actually, I'm gonna tell my mom after this podcast, like, hey, can I go get pizza?
Can you even eat
um,
pizza?
I can't, but I'm gonna be like, I want pizza now, so I'm gonna go get pizza. Anyway, Selena, we love you.
We do.
Uh,
I love
and
her.
we will. I will show my kids. I
Me
collect a lot of
too.
Selena memorabilia, and I also
Mhm.
collect a lot of, like, her clothes or, like, her fashion stuff. So I have a belt from her
You
that not her of
do?
hers, but I have a belt that hold on, let me show you, Jake,
Oh my
for all
god,
of
I
my
think I know what belt
listeners
it is,
who can't
but
see. Um, I
I will
I
most
literally have
definitely
spent
be oh my god.
I have one of the belts. I have some of her earrings, that I found that I'm an avid collector of her fashion. I
Didn't
actually
somebody that
wanted to
we
start
know,
an Instagram page.
buy some earrings from they weren't Selena's earrings, right? Or were they? I don't remember what it was.
No, my ex-boyfriend had bought me some earrings from the store, from the gift
Oh, okay.
shop at
Yes.
Selena's
Okay.
museum. I love those earrings. I will
Those earrings
forever
are
cherish those earrings.
gorgeous. I
They were
planted
like
the bug. I walked up to him and was like, "She was looking at these." And he took them off the rack, paid for them, and then we, like, went outside and
He
he
showed
got
them
what
to
he
me and
wanted.
I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god." I think in that moment I, like, actually fell in love with him in that moment, but anyway, it's fine. Things end for a reason. But thank you for all of our listeners that are listening in, and we thank you guys just
Thank
for,
you.
you know, being here and listening to us. And, um, we have a lot of more content planned for you
Oh,
guys.
yes.
And I hope you guys like our new upload schedule. We're really sorry that we had to, like, make accommodations, but it was really getting to be a lot of
Yeah,
work. And um but yeah, again, thank you guys for tuning in. And Selena, we will always love you, girl. All right,
absolutely.
guys. Take care.
Bye.